goodness.
Fine.
Hello, we're live and we're alive at the same time, which is incredibly convenient for us and hopefully exciting for you, because then you get to hear us talk about things that you're interested in. So it looks like we've got a few people in the chat already, which is awesome. Hello, everyone. Focusaur says howdy. We say howdy back. Hi and hello. 2 exclamation points. So today we're going to start off talking about our special guest star. So you want to introduce yourself?
Well, I've been on the stream before.
Yeah, but that was 5 years ago, as your Pokesaurus might remember.
Yeah, maybe. I'm Nathan. I'm Isaac's friend from high school, I guess.
Yep.
I moved down here to Cedar, and then a year later he followed me. So
It's true. And he was actually the one that sent me the article that we're going to be talking about today, which was the bone study that studied growth rates in theropods. I don't have access to the actual study because it's behind a paywall everywhere I looked, which made me very sad. And the abstract didn't really have anything super useful in it. So we're going to rely on the scientific journalism community, as inaccurate as sometimes they are. So essentially what this team did, it was Demick et al. 2023. They took a bunch of slices, thin sections from theropod bones and examined their growth rings. They did like Gigantosaurus and Mapusaurus, Coelophysis, I think was in there, T-Rex was in there as well. Potentially some Therizinosaurs based off of what we're seeing here. And they looked at the growth rates to see which theropods grew faster and how big they got, essentially. So for those of you who don't know, the growth rings of a bone work pretty much like the same as a tree, where the closer together they are, that means it's growing pretty slowly. So that's like when it reaches adulthood, the amount of minerals being deposited on the exterior of the bone is smaller because they're growing a lot slower. They have less resources being allocated to that. But when it's growing really quickly, the rings are further spaced apart because there's so much happening in a shorter period of time. And what they discovered was that Mapusaurus was actually the fastest growing megatheropod, which is crazy. I'd always, we hear about how fast T-Rex grows and how it went from 800 kilograms to 6,000 kilograms in the period of just a couple of years, which is true. But Mapusaurus's growth rings were actually even further spaced apart than T-Rex was, which is interesting considering some recent independent graphic double analyses on Mapusaurus that indicate it may have been the second biggest megatheropod. There's nothing peer-reviewed yet about that, but I know that some independent authors have done some GDI studies on that, some volumetric analyses, and found that Mapusaurus is pretty big. So maybe that's how it achieved it. There were 2 methodologies through body size that this study looked at. One of them was accelerated growth, and the other one was constant growth. So T-Rex and Mapusaurus, they're extreme examples of accelerated growth, where they had a certain time period where they grew extremely quickly and then it leveled off. They kept growing throughout their lives, but pretty slowly. And then continuous growth, which would be like Spinosaurus. They figured out that Spinosaurus had a lifespan of about 50 years, and it grew slowly but continuously throughout that entire time. So I don't know. I just think the idea of like a really old Spinosaurus that's really huge.
yeah, if they live long enough.
Yeah, if they've survived, the mortality rate, who knows? But theoretically, they could survive to 50 years, which is really, really cool to think about. Says Pokesaurus. Yeah, so it's pretty awesome, honestly.
And this is the Reuters article that we're looking at.
So I'm sure you'll be able to find this on Google. Gigantosaurus was also a slow grower. So it was more in the Spinosaurus camp. Coelophysis grew super quickly. Sishianicus. I don't speak Chinese, but the second part means claw. Small and slow growing theropod. Tyrannotitan also grew very slowly. So it seems that fast growth isn't necessarily restricted by clade, because you have tyrannosaurs that grew fast, but then within Carcharodontosaurids, you had both fast and slow growers. And then Spinosaurids, I think they only studied Spinosaurus in that group.
Yeah, I think so.
It's the only representative. So it's interesting that within the same families, even, you have completely different types of metabolism, completely different types of growth. It's pretty awesome. Really cool how there's so much diversity within really closely related species. So what are your thoughts? Been here for 5 minutes. Let's start talking about some other stuff too. We only got a few people here, so let's drum up a conversation, make it more fun.
How many species did they look at?
I think 28. Pretty sure they found 28. That must have been in the other article. This one doesn't mention the species count. Wow. I imagine a theoretical old Tyrannosaurus with all of that experience of hunting built up. It would be pretty scary. There's not a whole lot that would really be able to take that down in its environment.
It's interesting to think about the other study about Tyrannosaurus Rex being up to 70% bigger as well.
Yeah, just flipping nuts.
Theoretically, anyway.
Theoretically. And that sort of statistic.
Just the amount of mass it would have to put on every year.
Yeah, and we know it's possible for bipeds to get that big because we have some hadrosaurs that are even bigger that were bipedal, but they weren't obligatory bipeds like T-Rex were.
Yeah,
Ankylosaurus probably at that size. I'm pretty sure T-Rex would be slow enough that Ankylosaurus would be the perfect counter to it. As relatively agile as Tyrannosaurs were, you're still getting hit in the shin by a 400-pound bony spike club is not going to feel good.
Did they look mostly at theropods?
I think it was just theropods.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the studies on other dinosaurs as well.
Because I know that everybody has always theorized that sauropods just lived a really long time and grew super slowly. But as far as I'm aware, there's not any bone data to back that up. Maybe there have been studies on that I'm not aware of. But I'm excited to see more if they end up doing. Old Carcharodontosaurus. Yeah, it's hard to predict what Carcharodontosaurus would do because its closest relatives, like Tyrannotitan, Mapusaurus, other giant Carcharodontosaurus like that, were on both ends of the spectrum. So it really could have been either or. It could have been in the middle. Spinosaurus Slayer moment. Isn't Spinosaurus is slaying with awesomeness? Probably. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, Spinosaurus is awesome. How did they figure out the age of the animals in question? The number of rings inside of the bone approximately correlates with the age in years of the animal.
Would it correlate more with the intensity of the seasons? Winter,
it can.
Winter it slows down. Summer it grows up. It speeds up.
I mean, in the environments that these guys lived in, it was pretty much always warm.
Yeah, that's true.
So it was relatively constant. But there is a correlation between age and the number of rings. It's not exactly one per year like it is with most trees. Yeah, it's the rings and the light thing. That's exactly it. How long can Coelophysis live? Let's see if it said. Because it seemed to be like it kind of burned out pretty quick. Probably relied on producing a lot of young rather than fast-growing smaller theropod. That would support that because the Ghost Ranch remnants of Coelophysis in, was it Texas? Arizona, New Mexico. Ghost Ranch in New Mexico, I'm pretty sure, where they had a massive amount of young Coelophysis together with the adults. There was a lot of cannibalism there too. We don't need to talk about the cannibalism, but that would seem to indicate that they were species that seemed to prefer large amounts of young with a relatively low survival rate. So that would also tend to correlate with a higher growth rate.
The way humans used to do it.
Humans used to. My coworkers at the museum I work at disagree with that. Disagree with what? The legs and the rings on the leg thing? I made a Carcharodontosaurus slaying Spinosaurus joke, but neither animals are necessarily native, but you get it the context. Oh, okay, like a Carcharodontosaurus killing a Spinosaurus. Gotcha. Have the overall lifespans of theropods been increased? There's something about a 7 to 9 ton animal only living up to 40 that just doesn't sit quite right with me. Well, I can see where you're coming from, but based off of I almost said cryptids. It's not the right word at all. The specimens, the individuals that we've found, seem the upper limit for T-Rex lifespan seems to be about 30 years, just because of how dangerous their lifestyle was. I'm sure if you kept a T-Rex in captivity and fed it, it would probably live a lot longer. But it's pretty normal for animals in captivity to live a lot longer than their wild counterparts because they're safe. They have a lot less disease to worry about. They don't have to worry about predator pressure. They don't have to worry about getting injured by their prey. I know in the intelligence study that Susanna Ercolano-Husel did a few months ago, she also mentioned how neuron density tends to correlate with lifespan, and so she predicted that a T-Rex would reach full adulthood, full-size sexual maturity in 4 to 5 years. And I definitely disagreed with that because we have immature T-Rex specimens that are older than that, like 11 to 12 to 13 years old, that are not nearly full size and have no indication of sexual maturity. Like the females don't have the full layer of medular bone laid down that they would need to lay eggs or anything like that. So people have argued for that. Her argument in particular was very weak, just based off of a correlation of two factors that probably aren't even related.
An apparent correlation.
Yeah. Not all paleointelligence agree with it, so you're not alone. So from what I'm getting, half a ton Guanlong possibility. Guanlong is such a based animal. Guanlong's cool. It is so cool. Crested tyrannosaur from China. So awesome. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me that would be a possibility, since any statistic that you take with a similar population, assuming that there aren't like dramatic variables of difference, would be pretty applicable to a reverse population. If anything, there were probably more Guanlong than there were T-Rexes, because T-Rex was such a massive predator, and it needed a huge territory and consumed an incredibly large amount of the trophic pyramid. Guanlong was much smaller, needed a lot less food, probably matured a lot faster, but who knows? This study could, surprise us. It seems like there's no sort of predictor for how quickly these theropods grew, so maybe not. But I certainly wouldn't rule out a 500-kilogram Guanlong. If T-Rex could get 70% bigger just based off of statistics than Scotty, then I'm sure Guanlong probably could too. There's such a huge range of fully grown animal or individuals within a population, especially with reptiles. Size variances everywhere. Like look at crocodiles. A Nile crocodile fully grown can range from anywhere from 10 feet to Gustav, who was like 20. He was the size of a salty. So there's a massive variance within population size limits. Just imagine an old Sinotyrannus with a huge head crest. That would be really cool. That would be super awesome. Are size variants with birds similar? That's a good question. I know within species, off the top of my head, yes, but that part of that might be due to selective breeding, because the example I was just thinking of was chickens, where they can range from super tiny to absolutely massive, but that is often due to humans interfering and selecting for size. I really don't know birds as well as I should. I know that they're dinosaurs, and so I should probably study them more, but I just like modern reptiles more than I like modern birds. Like Komodo dragons and crocodiles are so flipping cool.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some variance, and there's a little bit of that is sexual dimorphism.
There definitely
a little bit, but most species are pretty consistent.
They're pretty consistent with birds, at least off the top of my head.
I mean, you can get some pretty big ones, but
we should not use animals like crocodiles as examples for size variance. They don't move the same way. Do you mean as far as like their actual mechanics? Because they don't move the same way as far as like biomechanically. They are relatively closely related, so they might potentially be a good analogy for dinosaurs. But birds, sometimes it's hard to tell, because it's difficult to tell with birds which characteristics were secondarily evolved after they split off from the rest of the theropods and which ones were more basal. I need to look into that and see if there's significant size variance within bird species, because that would be good to look into. I think with Hone's study from last year about the theropod size range with T-Rex, they just based it off of the statistical variance, like the standard deviation of the 30-odd T-Rex specimens we already have, as far as I'm aware, because it was just an abstract. I don't think they made a full paper out of it. Ooh, I read the description, Greek mythology, Godzilla Rage Across Time solos. I think I've read Rage Across Time. I remember that version of Godzilla was pretty powerful, but I think they also nerfed the Greek gods quite a bit, as they are wont to do. Are you fighting anything for bird size numbers?
Some stuff says that tropical bird species have less variable body sizes.
Variability in size in mammals and birds. Looks like somebody did some sort of statistical analysis about 20 years ago. Let's see.
Body size, its variability, and their ecological correlates have long been important topics in evolutionary biology. Yet the question of whether there is a general relationship between size and size relative variability has not previously been addressed. Through an analysis of body mass and length measurements from 65,074 individuals from 351 mammalian species, we know that relative variability increases significantly with mean species body size.
Okay.
Analysis of mean body mass and standard deviations for 237 species of birds revealed the same pattern.
Interesting. So they're saying that the larger the species on average, the more variability there's going to be within that sample.
That makes sense.
That does make sense. So basically, the bigger the animal, the more likely it is that there is a bigger one of that group. If it's super or a smaller one, there's going to be both sides.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, that does
people,
make sense.
You get people who are 7 foot tall and 4 feet tall.
4 feet tall, yeah. And we're all in the same species. Crocodiles live in water and crawl on their bellies, so the weight variant isn't too bad for them. Tyrannosaurus, I doubt, could handle inconsistent size variation. Potentially. The question, I think biologically it certainly could. The question is if it could energetically, if it could manage to feed itself at 15 tons, being that much slower than a 7 to 9 ton average individual. So I'm sure that maybe theoretically a couple of them happened. I doubt that it was something that was selected for, because that would make it very difficult to maintain their energy. Alrighty, whether or not you find this particular question unique or not, since it's post-2023, I'm curious what your favorite study/discovery of 2022 was. For me, I'm unsure. That's a really interesting question, because there were some awesome things that happened last year, paleontologically speaking.
I did enjoy that intelligence study.
That was this year.
Oh, that was this year?
That was in January.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It was cool, though. It was flipping cool. I can't even remember what videos I made last year based off of study. It was so long ago. Oh, probably because I only made 2 videos last year.
That'll do it.
Oh, yeah, that would do it. What even came out in 2022 for paleontology? I don't remember. I need some help. Jog my memory, everybody. I have a recurring horrific thought that the T-Rex arms are vestigial while being covered in feathers all over its body, so a walking armless mouth on legs. Yeah, pretty much. So basically, hey, at least their arms were bigger than abelisaurid arms. Those were just little elbow nubs, developmental Z tissue stuff. It's really funny. Exactly, the giant ones would have a harder time, and humans that get really big have health problems. Yeah, so I'm sure that happened to them too. Something that got that big would probably have some issues. I doubt it would live super long at that size. And like I was saying, that's not a trait that I think would be very selected for. Past a certain point, it doesn't help you to get bigger if you're a bipedal animal. Which is why the biggest bipedal animal that I can think of is Gigantosaurus, which is about 16 tons, so just barely bigger than that absolute max T-Rex statistical estimate. But even then, that could use its forelimbs as extra support.
Let's see, you did size limit of Gigantosaurus.
The T-Rex hunting packs. Oh, these are from 2021. Oh man, I really slacked, didn't I?
Was the Thor video the only one you did last year?
Maybe that was the only video I did last year. So I didn't even make a paleontology video last year. That's so sad. Oh, I have a gravestone for Dunkley Stakes. Still cool. We're finding out how the real deal was, though, more and more. I don't know if you heard about that.
What?
They figured it was a study on placoderm body proportions.
Oh, yeah.
And it turns out that it was half the size that they thought it was. It was chunky like a bulldog.
Stubby.
It was stubby. It was so stubby.
That's disappointing.
I know. It made me so sad because that was my favorite fish ever.
Yeah.
So cool. It was we used to think it was the size of an orca. That was terrifying. It's still big.
It's just squatter,
right? It's squat.
So it can still open its mouth the same.
I wonder if I can find it.
It's still scary.
Wait, actually, I don't have Discord. Look at that. It's so sad.
It's like someone stepped on it.
I know. I don't know why they shrunk the skull so much, though. That feels...
Well, the skull we have parts of the skull, don't we?
I know. We know how big the skull was. So this seems like a little too shrunken.
Yeah. Well, it looks like they shrunk it that way and then shrunk the skull more.
And then shrunk the skull, yeah. So
no
that's
reason.
A little bizarre. So I'm sure it was a little bigger than this, but dang, that's a downgrade.
It's a bummer.
I know. It's like saying a Tyrannosaurus could get 15 tons is like saying humans could get 9 feet. We can, but we die sooner from bad health. That's exactly it. That was the whole point of the study. It wasn't to figure out what a fairly normal large size was. It was to figure out How big could it possibly get? Just like humans can get 9 feet, but it sucks for them. Dylan says, howdy, howdy.
Hey.
Yeah, long story short. What I can say is my favorite extinct thing ever for 2022 was Prehistoric Planet and Primal Season 2. Prehistoric Planet and Primal Season 2 are way better than Dominion and Camp Cretaceous Season 5. I've only seen the first 3 seasons.
It's not really a high bar.
Yeah, not terribly. I mean, it's definitely a show made for like 7-year-olds.
But yeah, Prehistoric Planet was
Prehistoric Planet was amazing. I can't wait for Season 2. I mean, I can because I need to, because I don't control Jon Favreau or his schedule or David Attenborough. May he live forever.
Have they announced a Season 2?
No, not as far as I'm aware. Probably take him another 5 years to make another season. With the realism that they had. That was amazing. It's kind of a toss-up for me between Prehistoric Planet and Walking with Dinosaurs, because Walking with Dinosaurs had the amazing narration, and they used a lot of practical effects, which were really cool. I felt like it really grounded you in the environment. And there was so much CGI in Prehistoric Planet. As amazing as it was the best dinosaur CGI I've ever seen.
I'd like to see it in VR.
That would be amazing.
That would be awesome.
The T-Rex was great. The Mosasaurus fight was phenomenal. That may have been one of my favorite scenes in the entire show.
I really like the pterosaurs.
The pterosaurs are fantastic. It's strange that it took so long to get a documentary featuring pterosaurs that weren't just Pteranodon or Ornithocheirus.
Yeah, I mean...
And I love how weird their headgear is. It's like...
Oh my goodness.
It's so goofy. It's fantastic. Okay. You saw Dominion twice in theaters. What did you think? We went and saw it at the same time. There was a lot of laughter and anger screaming.
Skylar couldn't stop laughing.
He couldn't stop laughing. If a dinosaur breathes fire during this movie, I'm going to walk out of the theater. He didn't walk out, but he almost did.
He almost fell out of
There were some tears of anger that were shed that day. I already know, but for the sake of the stream, thoughts on Warner Brothers announcing they'll be making several new movies set in Middle-earth. If they're like the Helm Hammerhand movie, then...
I mean, from what I understand, they're eyeing making movies about existing characters that we saw in Lord of the Rings. So like an Aragorn movie.
I wouldn't be a huge fan of that.
What was it? I saw a suggestion of an Angmar movie.
Okay, that'd be sick. I would love like a second age Glorfindel versus the armies of the Witch King. That would be awesome. I'd pay a lot of money to go see that in 3D.
But I would prefer to see Silmarillion.
Obviously, but nobody has the rights to that because nobody.
Children of Húrin.
Children of Húrin would be
Baron and Luthien.
Baron and Luthien would be
the best movie.
It would be
two. Really I'd split that into 2 parts.
That would have to be 2 parts. Children of Húrin would be
very depressing.
Extremely depressing. It's probably the saddest story that Tolkien has ever written, but it's amazing. Glaurung is.
That's the one based on Kulurvo.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it is.
Hapless Kulurvo, as he called him.
Yeah, that's a good way to. Poor guy. Nothing goes right. It's like, sheesh. Jay says, in my opinion, best movie for 2022 is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Death was the best character. That was a great movie, actually. I
still haven't seen it.
It's really good.
It
was one of my favorite movies that I saw that came out last year. It was up there with probably Top Gun and Avatar.
Ooh, Top Gun was so good.
Top Gun was great. Speaking of somebody who didn't like the first Top Gun, I liked the second one a lot.
It was very 80s.
It was so 80s. It's like, I can't root for this guy. He's a jerk. He's so mean to everybody. Have you seen Digital Duck's trailer for Forgotten Bloodlines Agate? It will focus on Mycene, Nebraska, specifically Daedon and Meropus. I haven't. Let's watch it right now. Reaction video, everybody. Forgotten Bloodlines. Let's see, volume up, so that way you guys can at least come here. Oh, 6 days ago. All right. About insurance. It's an injury attorney. Never mind. Some trees. Mitchell Marvin's narrating? We should hear.
Try to bring back.
Dog rhinos. Intelligence. Entelodons are so awesome.
Did they move the dust?
They have big teeth. Dude. That looks pretty cool. Dude, that's awesome. I think entelodons are some of the coolest mammals ever. They're so cool.
Dominion was all right.
All right. Okay, where were we? Oh, the trailer. Don't spoil it. Moisture. The movie was actually amazing. Yeah, Puss in Boots was really good. Okay, Pokesaurus's opinion on Dominion. I get it. It's not great, but I still enjoyed it. Someone told me I had no taste for liking it. I told him to go bleep and said I'd rather have no taste than be him. Wow, that's a savage response. I definitely had fun watching it.
I thought the story was a little lacking.
I mean, for sure. Definitely was. It was easily...
It's not really why you go watch those.
Yeah. Jeff Goldblum was great. By far the best part of the movie. He was the only one who looked like he was having any fun.
Oh, man. He always looks like he's having fun.
He does. I didn't like the Giga. They just made it too much like a crocodile. The tail was terrible.
Oh, and what about the mine? The caves?
the swimming Dimetrodon with the T-Rex heads? No! So wrong. It made me take my glasses off. That's how wrong it was. Morally objectionable. Sheesh. Puss in Boots 2 comes out on DVD tomorrow. Hey, that's awesome. Dominion was a mixture of cool, mid, and extremely underwhelming. Probably among the weirdest I've ever felt after watching a movie, to be honest. That's fair.
Yeah,
that's pretty much how
accurate.
I felt. I'm not it, like sandstone on Morrison fossils. Yeah. Like Yakris, hey guys, sorry I'm late. I got home from work early because my grandfather died today. Oh, I'm sorry. If there's anything we can do for you, let us know. For all you could say about Dominion, there's no design. The sound design was top shelf. That's true. The sound design was pretty good. The roars sounded good. The soundtrack was fun. I don't remember any of it.
It was all right.
It was all right. Nothing is going to beat the first one.
Or the second one.
Second one also, yeah. Rexy was done kind of dirty for Dominion. I don't care if Tavares elaborated she's on her last leg because of how old she was. Objectively, not how reptilian age works. Just let her 1v1. I know. That was so frustrating. Didn't make any sense. The Giga was too big. Rexy was like this emaciated.
That final climactic.
That was so bad.
That was so hilarious.
And the Therizinosaurus is just like, I guess I'll just stand here and poke these swords through the neck.
And when the T-Rex walked behind the circle,
I mean,
to make the logo.
That was cool.
It was cool.
It was like
it was kind of funny, and it felt very forced.
It was so ridiculously forced. It's just like, why did they have a circle here? I don't know. It's Colin Trevorrow likes circles.
Weird modern art.
Oh, you meant that you're on Puss in Boots like Sandstone and Morrison Fossils because it's a great movie, and it is. I really liked it. It's awesome. Yeah, I think those three, Avatar, Puss in Boots, and Maverick, probably my favorite movies that came out last year. At least it wasn't a Triceratops, and they did a Therizinosaurus. That's true. I'm glad that Therizinosaurus at least is getting recognized.
Triceratops would have made more sense in that final battle, though.
Yeah, it probably would have. It was
because I could see a Triceratops sitting there if it was blinded. It would make more sense.
Yeah, I just don't get why the Therizinosaurus was so like insanely aggressive. There wasn't any reason. It was like,
he was just angry because he was blind. Okay.
I smell a deer here. I'm going to play golf with it now. Jeez, maybe we should make a mini golf like course.
That would be interesting.
That's Therizinosaurus themed, and you just get a bunch of deer for the balls, and you have to like hit them and bounce them across the walls.
Animatronic.
Animatronic
Therizinosaurus swatting the balls.
Exactly. You like strap them onto your hands, and you have huge claws. I like how angry he was. Herbivores are angry. Herbivores definitely can be angry, but they just made this one like bloodthirsty for no reason. And it seemed like it wanted to just...
I mean, to be fair, sometimes animals do snap.
Sometimes they do.
But for the first appearance on film of a Therizinosaurus...
That maybe wasn't the best representation of it.
Because I know a lot of people are going home thinking that it's a terrifying predator.
Yeah, they probably did think that in all honesty. They didn't act like one. But what would be the windmills in that mini golf course? Maybe pterosaur wings. Hit you in the face if you miss.
Ankylosaurus tails.
Maybe those should be the clubs.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, the actual clubs. Going back to that one live stream. Children. Also, you like my Puss in Boots parody art? Oh, the one that you put in the Discord of the T-Rex's death? Yeah, that was pretty awesome. That was solid. Man, I want Prehistoric Planet 2 to come out already.
It's going to take a couple years at least.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Let's look it up. Maybe there's been some sort of statement by John Favreau from the BBC.
I mean, he is pretty good.
He is very good. Prehistoric Planet Season 2? That's on Reddit. This is not a reliable. That's true. I guess they wrote Season 1 on the soundtrack, which implies a Season 2.
I mean, I can't see a reason why they wouldn't do a Season 2. Especially
because it was so incredibly, overwhelmingly loved by everyone that has anything to do with dinosaurs. The Theropod killed the deer but ate plants right after. If you think it's a predator, it's not paying attention. Yeah, I mean, that's true. They did eat plants. I forgot about that part.
Yeah. But still, a lot of people
that wasn't
are just going to be scared of it.
Death. There's another Tyrannosaur. Oh, which Tyrannosaur was it? Fat Joe, sorry I'm late. You are forgiven. Man. What was I even thinking about? I just want Prehistoric Planet to come out like right now. This stool is really creaky.
Yes, it is.
So, was it a Nanuqsaurus? All right, options. Option A, Rexicelos, her rival. Cringe story, by the way. Or option B, make an Indominus reference. Therizinosaurus and the other two being the large theropods for her genetics. A for me. Yeah, that would be... Yeah, that'd be more fun.
I guess Rexy would have more fighting experience.
It's true. Plus, her bite force could kill like anything in her size.
And if that intelligence study is to be believed, then she could probably just lay a trap.
That's true.
I know. It's a movie after all.
It's a movie. I mean, they seem to have indicated some kind of intelligence that the T-Rex and the Therizinosaurus communicate, and they're like, "Hey, let's team up. I'm going to shove him onto your hands."
Was blind.
It was blind. And he's like, "Hey, man, I'm using my Segnosaurid echolocation. I got you." This is on Reddit. It's not reliable. Absolutely based. It's true. Reddit's good for like building magic decks and box office discussions sometimes. What else is Reddit good for?
I don't know. I don't really use Reddit.
I don't really use it. Sometimes I read it, but I don't know. Oh, the face is based off of Wayne Barlow's Nanotyrannus. I need to revisit that and make another video about Nanotyrannus, because who even knows? I know that so many people are. I know Pokesaurus is really passionate that it's a valid genus. I'm pretty neutral on that right now. I just need to look into that for myself, but I have not dedicated the time. The Last Wish solos Jurassic first. I mean, they do have the concept of death, so.
Well, it says death.
Oh, I missed that part. Yeah, death. So, yeah, we're thinking along the same lines. Awesome. Oh, but speaking of Greek mythology, the Percy Jackson show actually seems like it's showing some promise.
I'm cautiously optimistic at this point. I don't really have high hopes for anything
that Rick Riordan has produced in the past 10 years.
Most book adaptations in modern Hollywood aren't really all that great.
Except for Dune.
And Lockwood and Co.
I've heard that one's fantastic.
Perfect.
I still need to read the book. I want to read the books
It's a little truncated, but it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But yeah, Percy Jackson, I mean...
The first 5 books were fantastic.
The actor, Walker Scobell,
he was in the
Adam Project. He was really good in the Adam Project. Yeah. So he's about as perfect casting as you can get.
Nice. That's encouraging. I heard one of the actors from Parks and Rec is going to be Dionysus.
Well, he was in Parks and Rec. He was Pimento in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the crazy detective.
I've only seen a few episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, in Parks and Rec, he was the Dennis Feinstein or something like that.
Yeah, he was Dennis Feinstein. I think seeing him as Dionysus is going to be really hilarious.
From what I can tell, he's one of the only
Like,
Only cast members who's actually Greek,
That's what I was thinking.
which is kind of annoying.
But at least they're trying with one. No,
But I mean, he is perfect casting for Dionysus.
yeah, it's hilarious. Wayne Barlow's Nanotyrannus Death Star. I don't remember. Let's look at this. Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, that's horrifying. That's so scary.
That's death right there.
It's his couch, or I mean, his skin looks like a couch, like a leather couch at the dentist. You know, so like a chameleon human.
Interesting.
Those are pretty good Ceratosauruses, though. Chicken parrot.
That made me uncomfortable.
With the chicken parrot.
Yes.
Let's look at it more. Oh my.
What is that?
I don't know, but Wayne Barlow has a very bizarre website. That's so creepy. Oh man. Anything on the Dakota Raptor being a chimera paper? I looked into it a few months ago. I couldn't find any like actual data. Just mentions like, oh, by the way, this might be a chimera, but there wasn't any reason really for it. I haven't seen anything new since I looked into that a couple months ago. Heisei Godzilla on his way to stomp every other live-action animated and anime Godzilla via power scaling. Walk us through that. Pokesaurus talking about the Dakota Raptor being a chimera thing. My boss at the museum I work at said that paper exaggerated the chimera part. Okay, which paper is this? I don't think I've read it. I haven't been able to find it when I'm looking for it.
Sensationalism.
Yeah, well, that's fair. I do that too. Clickbait. All my videos are clickbait. I'm sure those of you who are watching, which is the 9 people here, know that all of my videos are clickbait. Speaking of dinos, I had this weird dream that the Voth from Star Trek invaded modern-day Earth. The Voth are basically a species of dino that left Earth before the asteroid evolved for years. That was pretty cool.
What series was that in?
I guess we'll find out. Come back to us, Joe, with the answer. Extraterrestrial Horse says, is T-Rex still the biggest one? Biggest theropod, that's for sure. I think it's leading by about 1.5 tons to 2 tons.
Yeah.
Mapusaurus and Gigantosaurus are like going like this for second. Have you heard of the Hadrosaur Malefica decorative? With a name like that, I have to look it up. Malefica. Yeah.
Interesting.
Malefica. Why was it so witch or sorceress? Oh, it's from the Aguja Formation. Used to be assigned to Cretasaurus. Okay, let's look at the picture. This is what it look like. That's cool. Look at those teeth.
It's like a comb.
Had a straight battery. They're like elephant teeth. So this was last November. Wow, that's cool. That's recent. That's awesome. I hadn't heard of that. Have you watched Shin Godzilla yet? I haven't. Where do I watch that? I feel like you told me where to watch it a few years ago, and I don't remember. Wayne Barlow draws more demons and angel monsters and aliens than dinosaurs. Okay, that makes sense based on what we saw on his website. Because some of that was pretty demented. I think his angel monster alien aesthetic influenced his chicken parrot and his Nanotyrannus for sure. That was truly disturbing. Shin Godzilla is a good movie. It's truly unfortunate Shin Godzilla himself is fodder for Godzilla incarnations.
Spoilers.
Man, that's something. Clodsire is the best Pokemon. Agree or disagree? I will disagree. But I was talking actually the other day about how Clodsire is fantastic. I mean, ground type and poison type with water absorb, phenomenal setup. It was on our team in Scarlet for a good while until we got our Garchomp. Rayquaza is sick. Mega shiny Rayquaza is one of the coolest Pokemon designs ever. It could just be like from... I would say it's cool enough that its design could be from Magic. Get rid of the stupid thing. I want to look it up. Mega shiny Rayquaza. Google knows what I want. Look at that.
That's not bad.
That's so cool. The orbs, the little stubby arms, the wing sword things. The black and the orange. It's awesome. So cool. Your buddy got a nice beard. Thank you. Got a nice beard.
Well, yours is getting there.
Thank you. Problem is I shave it like twice a week. So I don't let it get thick. Poofs out too much. I can't wait for next month. What's next month? March? What's happening in March?
Oh, is that 65?
Oh, yes, that's true.
That looks so good.
It does look good. I feel
At
like
least exciting.
it does look exciting. It kind of reminds me of the Monster Hunter movie, but it's probably going to be 10 times better because that was not a good movie.
The trailers were so deceptive on that movie.
I know. It was. I hate that they did the Portal Fantasy thing. I'm so sick of Portal Fantasy.
Also, that is kind of how the game starts.
Yeah. Yes.
I think.
I haven't played it.
Actually,
Well,
no.
I haven't played the beginning. I have played the games, but I haven't played the stuff.
I think in the game you start on a different continent and then fly over.
But that's different from like the U.S.
ship.
military getting blown up by a Rothalos.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was underwhelming. I think 65 is going to be a lot better. I probably won't go see it in theaters.
It kind of reminds me of Planet of the Apes, the original one where he's crash lands on Earth, but he doesn't know it's Earth.
I wish that they hadn't revealed what was going on as much in the trailers.
That would be cool.
I think it would have been a way cooler thing to have it as a surprise. Because even the first trailer, the first like 45 seconds were perfect. And I was like, man, as soon as they showed the dinosaur, I was like, crap. That's not a good T-Rex model. It's awful. It's so bad. The Raptor's even worse. The wrists. They're doing the thing. They're doing the thing. I hate it. It's so bad. Oh, Dylan says, I've got to run off to my statics class soon. It was fun stopping in for a second. Oh, good luck. It was good to have you on the stream. I have Shin Godzilla on DVD. Tell me how to mail it to you. I mean, I've got a DVD player. I might hit you up on Discord after this. Good to see you both. I just beat Pokemon Red version, the oldest American release of a Pokemon game. What was your team again? I remember you posted the Discord, but I don't remember what it was. I've never played Red, but it does look really fun. Pokemon's so fun. I mean, statistically, Clodsire isn't the strongest thing in the world, of course, but like, just look at it. I know, it's awesome. I think I like Clodsire more than Quagsire. Just saying a lot. It's water grounds. Amazing typing. Have you watched the fight yesterday? Was there a fight? Who fought who?
Is that wrestling or MMA or something?
La Lucha Libre? I'd be down.
I'd watch that.
I did watch that. When I went to Mexico City over Thanksgiving break, we got to go to a Lucha Libre. It was hilarious. It was so fun.
Voyager, huh?
They basically held the entire Voyager hostage inside their massive ship, like teleported their ship into a dry dock, neutralized all weapons and non-essential power in one motion. Does sound pretty advanced. What do they look like? Cloth storage. Oh my! So they look exactly like the lizard men from Doctor Who.
And
the dinosaurs.
What are the lizard people from the first series like? Gorns. Those are cool, but these are
much more humanoid.
Yes. Oh, those are from Star Trek Discovery. They really changed them way too much for that.
Oh my!
Yeah, I like the original.
This looks goofy. Very xenomorphish. Alien's a fantastic movie, by the way. I finally saw an edited version a few months ago and loved it. Screw 65. Next month is when the Dueling Dinosaurs gets a public showing. Oh, okay. That's actually way cooler. Oh, that's so awesome. Any thoughts on Cocaine Bear? I haven't seen it.
I've heard it's pretty good.
I'm probably not going to.
I might go see it.
But I have heard that it's pretty funny. Actually.
I mean, it's crazy that it's based on an actual real story.
Loosely inspired by. But yeah, it is funny. That's probably why it's getting so much press, like we were saying.
Yeah.
Cocaine Bear is a fun movie. Okay, so Extraterrestrial Horse liked it. This stool is way too loud. I'm just going to stand up. That's better. Have you heard of the new Titanosaur Gigantosaurus Diripienda? I feel like it was on that picture that we looked up of Malefica. I did. He's pretty big. It's a big boy. Indomitable reptile. That's a cool name.
I'm sorry. That new version of the Gorns was on Star Trek Strange New Worlds, not Discovery.
Worlds. Gigantosaurus. It's from South America. That makes sense why it sounds like its name was Spanish.
Or Portuguese, maybe.
Or Portuguese. It looks like where in South America was it from? That looks like Chile, maybe?
Argentina?
Could be Chile or Argentina. It's hard to tell on that tiny map. Let's look at it. From the late Cretaceous of Argentina.
Queencool.
Oh, it's a Quechua word. Hard and indomitable animal. Chucaro.
Fitting.
That's cool. I think it's really awesome when they use like native dialects to name dinosaurs. It's pretty sick. Speaking of Planet of the Apes, in my recollection, as far as I don't remember what the acronyms is. Jurassic World was initially supposed to have the Planet of the Apes director for that movie. Like Matt Reeves? Which Planet?
As I understand it, Steven Spielberg and Michael Crichton collaborated on that basically from the day the book was published. Steven Spielberg was very interested in the movie, as I remember.
Well, but which Planet of the Apes, though?
Oh, I don't know.
Because there was like the 2003 one.
Well,
he's the Charlton Heston one.
Oh, I'm talking about the Charlton Heston one. The 2003 one was fun.
I haven't seen like the
with Mark Wahlberg, but
I started watching the one with Andy Serkis in it, the 2010 2011 one. It was first half an hour or so was really good. I want to continue watching it.
I hear those ones are phenomenal.
He's the guy who did the Batman.
Oh yeah.
So I can see a Jurassic World movie by him being really super good.
No, I'm assuming since he's talking about the first Jurassic World. Sorry.
Yes, those 2015.
I apologize.
Probably would have been super good. There is no Monster Hunter movie. There was a movie called Monster Hunter, but it wishes it was the Monster Hunter game. That's pretty accurate. I mean, it had Ron Perlman in it, but even he couldn't save it. Oh my god. Ooh, the Rex in my series Evolved. This is Lagiak talking. The Rex in my series Evolvedverse, he's basically the main dad of the main protagonist of my series, while the mom is a Tarbosaurus. So is the main protagonist going to be a T-Rex or a Tarbosaurus? What does the hybridization zone look like? Are they going to be able to provide fertile offspring? Or are they going to have like genetic defects because they're a hybrid? How does this work? I'm curious.
Is that from the Tyrannosaurus's perspective then?
I think the way that it's worded, it says the Rex is the dad of the protagonist and the mom of the protagonist is Tarbosaurus.
Oh, sorry. Interesting.
It's the real story of Pablo Escobar.
No,
Escobar. AKA Cocaine Bear is kind of boring. At least the bear part. The lead up to it is interesting. That just reminds me of the Weird Al movie. Pablo Escobar has a pretty funny part in it. Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury was yesterday. Jake Paul, isn't he a YouTuber?
Oh yeah, they're doing the YouTube boxing matches.
What?
Where they have YouTubers facing off against each other.
Like for real?
Yeah.
And they actually fight?
Like a lot of different YouTubers have been training at. I don't know.
Let me know when Tobuscus joins. Or Julian Smith. I'll watch those.
That would be weird.
That would be really weird. Especially if he's in it as Jeffrey Dallas. Okay, so Pokesaurus's Pokemon Red team was Charizard, awesome. Rhydon, also awesome. Snorlax, I like it. Lapras, Nidoking, and Gyarados. Gyarados is so cool. That's one of my all-time favorites. Nidoking, I think, has an incredible design. I wish that its stats matched how cool it looked, because they don't. I feel like it should have been pseudo-legendary. Charizard's second best Pokemon for me, Rayquaza first. Those are both solid picks. Friendly reminder, Skipper from the Penguins in Madagascar stole this entire Jurassic franchise. It's true, really. He's capable of a lot of horrifying things. Okay, Joe again talking about the Voth. Yeah, they are. When you're at Starfleet levels of tech 65 million years ago, I shudder to think of what 65 million years-ish of tech evolution gives you. Technocratic society, even else.
Spoilers.
What? Spoilers for what? What are you talking about? The coolest DreamWorks match of all time, Skipper versus Lord Shen. Was Lord Shen the peacock from Kung Fu Panda 2?
I think so.
Yes, he was. Okay. I need to watch that again. Kung Fu Panda 2 is so good.
I've got it.
You should get to watch it sometime. That might actually be my favorite DreamWorks movie. It's really phenomenal. I love the Kung Fu Panda.
Even better than Over the Hedge.
Over the Hedge is a good one. I did definitely enjoy that.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring back and draw some imaginary friends I had as a kid. One of them is a mecha version of Chomper from Land Before Time. Dude, that's awesome. Oh, that's so cool. I'd love to see like a reboot of Land Before Time as like a dark, gritty paleo fantasy, but like with cyborgs. That would be so funny. There is no Monster Hunter movie.
Or no, an adult version where they're all grown up.
And it's like, oh man, that would be fun. Oh, the main protagonist is a human. I won't spoil too much outside of that.
Interesting.
So, not genetic parents, I'm assuming. Let's start shapeshifter. As someone whose childhood was formulated by Mario a lot growing up, I have never been more hyped for a movie than with the upcoming Super Mario movie. It actually looks really good. The animation in the trailers is incredible. Jack Black is going to be a really funny Bowser. It's nobody wants to take Mario seriously anyway, so Chris Pratt as Mario is perfect. Great cast, great animation. I think it's going to be fun.
I'm looking forward to seeing Jack Black in the Borderlands movie, if that ever comes out.
I don't know he was in that.
Oh yeah, he's the little annoying robot.
That's hilarious. Your bearded buddy would solo all the YouTubers. Hey, we need to just set you up a channel and enter you.
Some of them are pretty big.
Yeah, you can beat up Jake Paul.
Probably.
Skipper would steal a jet from Biosyn and crash it into the area and free the dinosaurs, and then he'd lead them in an army.
I don't know. I think he'd be equally inclined to just blow the dam and flood the valley. I mean, he's kind of chaotic.
Kowalski, analysis. Well, that'll be Rico. Rico's the one who's super chaotic.
Yeah, that's true.
How to Train Your Dragon is better than Kung Fu Panda. They're honestly pretty close for me. I hadn't seen the third How to Train Your Dragon until a few weeks ago, and then I saw it, and I think it might actually be my favorite out of the trilogy. It was way better than I thought it would be. I didn't think I'd like it very much. And I think the third Kung Fu Panda is probably the weakest out of that trilogy. So I'd need to watch them again to make sure. Right now, I think I'm leaning slightly towards Kung Fu Panda, but that could change. Yes, his name is Pablo Escobar. Yes, his body is stuffed. Yes, they put it on display for the premiere of Cocaine Bear on the theater on Main Street. Yes, it's on display in my hometown. Dude, you need to go see the movie. Penguins of Madagascar is my favorite DreamWorks verse. The show hits so hard. The show actually is really good, super demented, and in a totally different timeline than every other Madagascar-related thing. Or Madagascar, since the penguins originate from Madagascar. Yeah. Honestly, have you seen the King Julian show?
I've seen clips of it.
It is super messed up. You learn about how Mort is actually like a variant of an elder god Mort that like split like Adonalsian style. And there's like other Mort universes. That,
I think they went a little too crazy with that one.
I don't know. It's pretty awesome. He absorbs his grandfather's soul, and then he like is his own grandma. He can like, oh, it's crazy. Since evolved versus thing is giving non-sentient animals increased cognitive function via alien influence. Okay, so it's like an adoptive relationship.
That's pretty cool.
Mecha Chomper could make
kind of reminds me of your book
of Extinction.
A little bit.
Mecha Chomper could make Transformer sounds and change his arms to Stegosaurus or Gigantosaurus tail. Dude, that would be so sick.
Oh my goodness.
I heard Shrek 5, Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous 2, and Kung Fu Panda 4 are things upcoming. I also know Barney and Wonder Pets are returning, which I heard they're bringing Barney back after the thing he did with like the drugs. I heard about that.
I assume it's going to be a different actor.
I hope so. Maybe it should be a different Barney. Scientifically accurate one. Eats all the kids. Yeah, Shrek 5. I keep looking for updates on that. And Antonio Banderas hinted that it was maybe coming. Kung Fu Panda 4 is confirmed. Thoughts on The Boys? I haven't seen it.
I thought Camp Cretaceous season 2 or
no, season 5 is out. I think they're making. I'm assuming this is talking about like another show.
Oh,
Post Dominion probably.
Okay, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I haven't seen The Boys. I've heard it's pretty good, but I've also heard it's a bit.
It's
a bit
not
edgier.
your style.
Yeah, I don't know if.
I don't think you'd really enjoy it.
I don't think I would, even though it has Carl Urban in it, and I love Carl Urban.
His character is amazing, but. What's his name? I forget his name. He's Quaid. He's the main character there. He's the son of Dennis Quaid.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Pokesaurus grew up with the Penguin show. It's an awesome show. Would you rather fight off an army of people armed from 10th century England, but you have 10 dudes with modern firearms, or 4 and as much rations and ammo as possible, or fight off an alien invasion?
I'm not sure that's a contest.
I think that depends on the aliens. What if they're like...
It depends also on what army from 10th century England.
That's
because
true. Because what if it's like 100,000?
Is it the entire nation of 10th century England, like their army? Or is it like an army from different fiefdoms? I don't know. But you would just mow them down with modern weapons. That's not really a contest.
But is it like a cool alien invasion? Like, what if they were really easy to beat? Or they're
I don't
like
know.
marshmallow people. You just ate them. You packaged them up and sent them to
I
Walmart.
don't know. Maybe they just melt.
Maybe. Who knows? Favorite kaiju. Number 1, Godzilla. That's fair. Number 2, Destroya. Also fair. That's probably my favorite Godzilla villain. I think his design is incredible. And I really hope that he's the one that they pick for the Godzilla and Kong movie. 3, Space Godzilla. 4, Bagan. 5, King Ghidorah. Bagan. I don't know what Bagan is. That's a Pokemon. Oh, he's cool.
Interesting.
Ancient Super Kaiju. Who made his official debut in the 1993 Godzilla video game Super Godzilla. Oh, he's actually got a pretty cool design. It kind of reminds me of Destroya. It's like an Attack on Titan variant. He's kind of cool.
Interesting.
I like him.
He's got the abomination elbow spike.
Yeah, he does. Kind of reminds me of a goblin shark. Don't think you'd like it blood and cursing. Yeah, that's why I haven't watched it. Have you heard of the new pterosaur Waxia Draco Corolatus? I have not. I mean, now I have. Let's look it up. Oh, it's a new Tapajarid? Oh, that's so cool. Do you have a picture?
Ooh,
Oh,
that was trippy.
so which one is Sinopterus and which one is Waxia Draco?
The one on the left looks like a toucan.
Kind of does. I love the coloration on this picture.
Yeah, very nice.
I like it a lot. It's cool. Another imaginary friend I had was just a Tyrannosaurus named Jack. That's solid. Paleo enthusiast when an antagonistic character from The Last Wish is named Jack Horner. I know. I thought of that. That was very funny. Did 2 averagely sized African bull elephants beat a freak specimen like Scotty in its prime? In all honesty, probably not. African bull elephants average around 5, maybe 5.5 tons. So
What's the top speed?
that's a good question.
I think the T-Rex might be a little more agile.
It's certainly more agile. I don't know if it's as fast as in linear speed, though. It's probably slower. Speed. Okay, elephant's
God.
definitely faster.
Impressive.
I don't know if it has the turn radius, though.
Hmm.
T-Rex was also used to taking down animals that were significantly larger and much more heavily armed and armored.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the elephants, they have thick skin and tusks, but that's about
That's
it.
about it.
Maybe
and-
stomp on his toes.
Yeah, maybe. Or the T-Rex could stomp on their toes. It weighs twice as much. Also, a single hit from a T-Rex is going to kill one of these things.
Yeah.
It's one bite and it's over. Jack the Tyrannosaurus also had a cousin named Jack, and cousin Jack had 2 brothers named Zach and Mac. I was bad at naming stuff as a kid. That's okay.
Well, I mean, even Tolkien had rhyming names.
That's true. There's nothing wrong with that. Dory, Nori, Ori,
Oin, Gloin.
Gloin, Gloin, Biffer, Buffer, Bumber, Killy, Philly. The Rex is the leader of his evolved creatures group 2, as they're called. The team also has a Dakota Raptor, Stegosaurus, Triceratops, and Kylosaurus and Spinosaurus, if you don't remember. Yeah, I've seen the designs that you've sent to me. They're pretty awesome. Bagan is a super OP opponent from Super Godzilla, being from the Heisei era, best Godzilla era, by the way. He has the DNA of Godzilla and King Ghidorah and formulates to be strong enough to fight Super Godzilla. Dude, that's awesome.
It's impressive.
Ooh. The entirety of 10th century England versus the above.
With 10 guys, a fort, and unlimited ammunition.
It is unlimited ammo.
Are we talking just machine guns or any modern weapon?
That's a great question.
'Cause
And Alien Invasion for laughs and giggles. A small armada of unblooded predators versus the whole planet as it currently stands.
mhm.
Well, I mean,
That would be a challenge.
If it was the entire planet, the question is if we would even know they were there.
I don't
Is
know.
their
Do their
stealth-
ships
well,
have
their stealth technology when they're on the ground is super
True,
good.
but did their ships have cloaking?
I would assume so.
Interesting.
Led by a blooded hunter. Okay. On a tier list, where would you put Crocodontosaurus? Crocodontosaurus is really awesome. I mean, I know it's not the biggest. It might be top 3 or 4 as far as size goes, but I just think it looks really cool. Solid A tier dinosaur, except for J, who's an S tier dinosaur. The Tarbosaurus is what you call an unaligned. Unaligned in this case doesn't have a team, but is one of the good guys. The villainous ones are called Evolved Warlords. That's a super cool name. You can make a D&D campaign out of that. Probably should. Speaking of tiers list, I'm no longer a fan of Tier Zoo. Not gonna lie, I've only watched one Tier Zoo video. I think they're too long. So I don't even watch
Is that your
Edge.
one criticism?
Yeah, they're too long. I mean, it's a great idea. It's super cool. The visual effects are good. I don't watch Edge videos either because they're also like half an hour long. I don't have that much time to watch YouTube. Tier Zoo ran out of ideas. That's fair. When you base your entire gimmick on such a limited archetype, it kind of doesn't do a lot anymore. Interestingly enough, Bagan was initially supposed to be an evolutionary-based opponent from Return of Godzilla and was supposed to appear as an antagonist from the Rebirth of Mothra movies. Oh. Well, that's awesome. I mean, I love his design. I mean, just looked at the picture. It looks super cool. Pokesaurus, he spreads misinformation about pandas and cheetahs, talking about Tier Zoo. What false things is he spreading about our friends? Laggy's going to be right back. I also am not a fan of Edge anymore. Tell me why. Because I think they make good videos and they have good ideas. I just don't have the time to watch their videos.
That's a great username right there.
Velociraptor numboliensis? Or Titanocampsa lorii. Eorii. Titanocampsa. But
that would be a great username.
With a name like that, we have to look it up. Large meso crocodile. Oh, it's an astro. It's Brazilian. Body size estimates vary greatly and range between 10 feet and 20 feet. Dude.
I mean, to be fair, you did say that Nile crocodiles have that range.
They actually do have that range, so it's perfectly plausible that it was either one of those or both. Oh, it looks beautiful. Look at that. If I could just snap my fingers and become an expert in any section of vertebrate paleontology besides theropods, it would be crocodiles, hands down. They're so cool. Okay, more information on the predator ships. They do have stealth as far... Why is the chat's freaking out? I can't see your comment. The ships do...
Scroll up.
There we go. Okay, so they do have stealth as far as the 10th
Century.
10th century England. Each guy has a tactical knife, service pistol, and AR-15.
Okay. Well, with the AR-15, you could take out a lot of people.
You definitely could.
Especially if you had unlimited ammo.
Mm-hmm. The question is how many people lived in England 1,000 years ago? Would they be enough to surround you?
Yeah. It would also depend heavily on the fort if there were multiple ingress options. But
let's see. Population of England in 1966. Between 2 and 2.5 million people.
all right.
That's a lot of people.
It would take a while, but I mean...
you have unlimited rations.
They would definitely be able to overwhelm the walls if they really wanted to.
You have unlimited rations and unlimited ammo. That doesn't necessarily mean you have unlimited stamina.
But you only have yourself and 10 other people.
Yeah.
So
I feel like eventually
you would.
They would
overcome.
They just zombie horde.
Because you'd have to. I mean, you can only stay awake for so long.
Yeah. You can only shoot for so long. What is the strongest animal a very strong person with a large sledgehammer could knock out or kill with a hit to the head?
Are we talking one hit or?
I believe one hit. How large is a sledgehammer?
I mean, I've got one at home that's like almost 16 pounds.
You could.
I think it's bigger than that. It's like this big.
You could probably do a lot of damage. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to cost us sauce.
But I don't know. If you time it right, you can take out. I don't know. I could see you taking out a grizzly bear if you time it right perfectly, hit it right on the head.
Some animals do have incredibly thick and durable skulls.
Yes. And some you just can't reach, like, say, a giraffe.
Yeah.
Or an elephant, you might have trouble getting around the tusks.
That's true. Their skulls are also remarkably thick.
Yeah.
They would probably hurt like crap. I don't know if you'd be able to kill one. At least with one.
So, I don't know. I'd say probably around a grizzly bear size.
Maybe rhinoceros, if you're lucky.
Well, I don't know. Rhinoceros.
Assuming that it's just like sitting there and letting you go.
Yeah. If it's charging at you,
then good luck. You're going to want to be dropping the sledgehammer because it's going to slow you down. Well, dinner's almost ready, so we're probably going to cut the live stream off soon. Let's see. Oops, well, I won't say much about why I stopped liking Edge because it's more petty. I just think he doesn't know as much as he thinks. Well, I don't know nearly as much as I think. So I think a lot of things I don't know. Have you heard of Confractosuchus sauroctonos?
That's a name, right?
That's a cool name. Keep it coming. Sauroctonos. Oh, dude. Look at that jaw. Holy
Now
cow.
that's an image right there.
That is so cool. How big was this guy? Just like normal croc size? Broken dinosaur killer. The broken killer. Man, I'm gonna still there for a look.
2.5 meters.
2.5 meters, so it's just under 10 feet.
Yeah.
So relatively like a caiman sized. But that's still really cool. That's such an awesome name. Hello, what do you think of the recent Panachosaurus larynx study? I made a video about it, actually.
Ooh,
Yeah, you can check it out. Enjoy your dinner. Thank you. Vivid Adult 2031. Tyrannosaurus discovered to have grown so unbelievably powerful that it transcended beyond reality. Hey, you want to be a co-author on that? Dinner's almost ready. Kupla. Thank you. Last thing I'll tell you about Jack the Tyrannosaurus. He murdered Spinosaurus and made hybrids. I was not a kid. Hey, that's cool.
Those would be some pretty epic.
Hybridization results in some really interesting genetic variation, like parthenogenesis in reptiles. Most cases, actually all of the cases of which I'm currently aware happen because of hybridization. It like eliminates the ability to create viable males, and so they're forced to only do females, which causes a lot of problems genetically, and it significantly decreases the overall fitness of the species. But
interesting.
It's still cool. You need to look up the story behind Cocaine Bear. The pilot part is the best part, actually. Okay. Tyrannosaurus, Guanlong, Hypothetical. Good summary. More discussion. Well, I think we're going to go. I've been making pasta for the past 5 hours. So it's time for the fruits of our labors to be enjoyed. This has been a wonderful live stream. Everybody say goodbye to our special guest star, Nathan. Bye, Nathan.
Farewell.
It was good seeing you. I feel like we're on like one of those Disney Channel talk shows, like, hey, say hello to Mr. Pumperschnuckle, you know? And it's like a puppet, like it's like a snake or something.
So you're saying I'm a puppet?
You're Mr. Pumperschnuckle.
I'm so flattered.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's definitely a compliment. All right, see everybody. Have a good one. Woo! What a time. I'm going to click the end stream button now so that nobody can hear me saying nonsense.